So Genesis chapter 3. Let's talk about that sneaky serpent. Let's talk about Eve, of course Adam, and that tree that is in the middle of the garden. There were some interesting conversations in this chapter, so let's go. First of all, we see that the serpent was more crafty than any other animal in the garden. So the sneaky serpent came and started talking. Yes, you heard me right, talking, having a conversation with Eve, and told, interestingly enough, the serpent asked Eve a question and said, so God said that you cannot eat from any of the trees that are found in the garden. And that was a sneaky question because that's not what God said. So Eve said, no, God did not say that. God said that we could eat from any tree, but we cannot. You see that tree that is stuck, is sticking right in the middle of the garden, the tree of knowledge of good and evil. From that tree, God said that we could not eat because we would surely die. The serpent said, you're not going to die. If you eat it, your eyes will be opened and you will be like God, knowing the difference between good and evil. Eve heard that, and that sounded pretty good to her. So you know what she did? She went, grabbed the fruit from the tree of knowledge of good and evil, whether that was an apple or a banana or a pear, it doesn't really matter. She grabbed the fruit, ate it, and something must have changed in her, because when she ate it, must have been good. She brought it to Adam, but Adam, God had given him a commandment not to eat from that tree, but she brought the fruit to her man, and Adam ate it. And after they ate it, the Bible says that their eyes were really open and they realized, if you remember in the end of chapter 2, the Bible says that they were both naked, but they were not ashamed. Now, when their eyes were open, they realized that they were naked, and they realized they were naked, and they covered themselves. They went and created some clothing, if you will, out of fig leaves, and covered themselves. So what they did, we talked about free will before, so now they exercised that free will by disobeying the commandment that God gave them. And you're going to see that they did not die physically instantly, but they're spiritually, we can say that they died, because that connection, that relationship, you're going to see that it was severed, became detached, because the Bible says that the Lord came walking into the garden and did not find Adam. So I assume that they hung together every day, had conversations, but now Adam is nowhere to be found. Homeboy went hiding from the presence of God, and God said, Adam, where are you? He said, God, I was afraid, I was naked, so I hid from you. And that was the wrong answer, because as soon as he said that, God said, who taught you that you were naked? Did you eat from the tree that I told you not to eat? Of course he did. And then what happened after that? You can see there now Adam and Eve are hiding. So they did not die physically, but spiritually that relationship, almost you can see that it became detached. So what happened next is that what happened then was that Adam then started the blaming, the pointing finger began. So now Adam blamed the woman, and then the woman blamed the serpent. So God pretty much had no choice, and God cursed everybody. So he cursed the serpent by telling the serpent now that the serpent was going to crawl on its body. So most likely the serpent had legs back in the day, but now because of what the serpent did, tricking, the sneaky serpent tricking the woman, and then eventually tricking the man, now it was cursed to crawl. Now not only he cursed the serpent, he cursed the woman, because now the Bible says that the woman was, the pains of labor, the pregnancy was going to multiply, and the childbearing was going to be painful. And then because of that, God also cursed the ground. Instead of the ground giving up, bringing forth the crops, now the men had to work for it. So now the ground was cursed, the man was cursed, and God created the work. Now we have to work for a living, thanks to Adam and Eve and listening to that sneaky serpent. And obviously God cursed them, and obviously matters got even worse, because now they were going to die, and then eventually, unfortunately, that fairy tale they were living ended. Now they were both kicked out of the Garden of Eden. That's chapter 2 in less than 5 minutes. Chapter 3.